MMO Champion turns 10, a new PTR is out, and people are happy bitching. Hey, it's Soul. It's March 3rd, 2017, and this is Warcraft Weekly. Alright, celebrate! I redid my intro. Woo! Now with that aside, let's recap. I finally published the 7.2 guide right on time for a brand new PTR build to come out, but it's still pretty useful. I went over the major features, how to get ready, and what you're gonna do in the first couple days or weeks or whatever in this patch. When I can, and if there's like a major change that needs to be noted like right away in the guide, I'm gonna update it on the sticky, but otherwise, I might do like one more kind of follow-up video before the patch comes out, just kind of a last minute, oh shit, here's what you gotta do really quick so you guys can get ready. But other than that, you're not gonna see a really general guide about the PTR. You might see some super specific things like what's gonna happen with paladin tanks. There are a couple kind of undocumented changes that I'm trying to research, and that's really hard to do, so stay tuned for that stuff. I got another paladin tanking guide out for Krosus, and I know the content on that front has been a little bit slow because we basically just haven't progressed very quickly. This week we did though. We got High Botanist and Star Augur down, and we melted our faces against Ellison for about like 20 or 30 minutes. But hopefully I'll finish those guides up soon, and then I can move on to other things like mythic dungeons and things like that. And I did another channel vlog, a practice in self-deprecating and self-pity and begging for likes and good comments and whatever. In there, I kind of brainstorm changes that are going to take place, and for those who only just watch the news here, nothing's really going to change for you guys. I'm still going to be talking the news. There might be some minute changes with how I add in opinions to the news pieces, and maybe you'll see that in this video. But I'm going to shift directions just a little bit. I'm going to try and focus the channel on trying to be more helpful for you guys. And girls, I know it rolls off the tongue, but inclusive, come on, Soul. Like I said, I'm gonna push to create content that helps all of you succeed in such a way that you can get your stuff done without stressing out too much. How to get through dungeons and raids and other basic guides, as well as making gold. And of course, I'm going to inform and maybe enlighten you guys every Friday. Inform and enlighten. I wonder if I could use that. But anyway, on to the news, and the news itself is super light this week. All there was really was the new PTR build that came out, and we're celebrating. MMO Champion is celebrating 10 years of existence here in the internet space. I don't know what I was looking at 10 years ago. I'm pretty sure I was still using like Thoughtbot and Carbonite to guide my way through WoW. But in my opinion, MMO Champion has done a really good job of being a competitor to the likes of like Wowhead, and the way they try to one-up each other on their database ability and their ability to collate news. Of course, one thing that MMO Champion kind of one-ups on Wowhead is their forum, with its colorful language and its inclusive rhetoric. Yeah, it's pretty shit sometimes. But anyway, they're sharing the celebration with giveaways, and they're not crappy giveaways either. They're giving away digital goods, they're giving away like computer equipment, gift certificates. All you guys and girls need to do is go to those forums, make an account. All you have to do is reply to these posts with the contests on them, and ta-da, you're in. You only have a weekend to enter, so just get to it. It only takes a few minutes. And like I said earlier, the other bit of news is that we have a new PTR build. There's only a few major components to go over, so let's take a look. First off, according to the build notes, and thank goodness they're adding in build notes again, the Nethershard vendors are back, selling these things called Relinquished tokens and Dauntless tokens. Now, if you didn't know already, these tokens are designed to be kind of the targeted legendary concept that people have been kind of wanting. To get nether shards, you do broken shore content, you take this currency, you buy stuff, and hopefully you get something good. Mechanically, this isn't really any different from like the Timeless or the Baleful gear from previous expansions. Blizzard outright said this by saying in their post that, hey, yeah, this is designed to be kind of a catch-up mechanism for new players or alts. So while I know how people have their gripes about this being kind of a new slot machine-ish kind of system where they farm stuff and then they try to get something and they're probably not going to get anything useful out of it. For me, that's not really the concern. I mean, that's the World of Warcraft in a nutshell, right? I mean, you do stuff and you'll hopefully get something good, and for the most part, you are going to get something good eventually. But the approach that Blizzard's talking about in these development notes, it just has me it doesn't have me feeling very good about it. The reasoning is around what they said about being a catch-up for alts and new players. And I don't know, like, there are so many things that we can do in Legion right now. And all these things offer pretty decent rewards, and on top of that, Blizzard made a point to scale these rewards over time during the course of the expansion to make it feel like content is not super inferior to one another. And I touched on that at some point where I talked about Warlords and how certain content was vastly inferior to other content, so people just kind of shuffled into doing one thing. Legion's different thanks to like Titanforge and Warforging and this scaling that Blizzard has done with their rewards through like the World Quest system, and what they're going to do in 7.2 with dungeons and what have you. Basically, in what I was trying to say in that ramble, there's just a lot of things that we can do now that are a pretty effective catch-up on its own. So why do we need these tokens? And because these tokens are targeted, and I get what Blizzard's trying to do with these tokens, they want to try to fill holes and fill gaps that are left when, after all that's said and done, you still don't have like a decent helmet. You still have a green freaking helmet for some reason. I get that, but there's a certain line that's crossed. This invisible line where it just seems like it's just too easy to get to a certain level of gear. It makes sense that Blizzard wants to do something like this. It's kind of a big paradigm where they don't want people to feel like they're way too far behind. In my opinion, I think this is why a lot of people end up quitting other MMOs, because it's like, oh, I want to play with my friends, but it's gonna take freaking forever to farm this, and then I got to do this content, and I need to find a group for it, but no one wants to help me do it. This sucks. F this. But on the Blizzard side of things, the kind of journey that players should be going through in order to get to a certain level of power so they can play with their friends, it's been diminished to a point that it's easy to question whether or not, hey, should we be okay with this kind of welfare gear? So I'm curious about your folks' thoughts on this, because I'm kind of skeptical about the usefulness or perhaps the over usefulness of these Dauntless tokens and these Relinquished tokens from a catch-up standpoint. There's already stuff in place. Why add more? Moving on, artifact point requirements and artifact knowledge numbers have been adjusted once again. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be adjusted again and again and again and again in the months or weeks or, whatever you're thinking, in the time leading up to the 7.2 launch. But I noticed that some people, and I guess it's the same people, they're still in like this total panic about, oh my god, it's gonna take like 12 years in order for us to max out our artifact weapon, and they're flipping out doing these calculations based on how many Mauve Soul runs that need to be done in a day, multiplying that by the number of days, based on the requirements of getting the 100th rank on your weapon. And for folks that are making forum posts or videos about them, cool. I mean, it's a great attention grabber. It's a great way to get people looking at what you have to say, but y'all tripping. Apart from me tiredly saying, well, numbers aren't final, let's wait until the patch comes out. I mean, yeah, we know that. People are still worried about it though. But at the same time, it's like, the expansion is not done yet. 7.2 is coming, but we're probably gonna have more patches coming. I'm pretty sure that 7.3 is coming, going to Argus and all that stuff. But people seem to have forgotten about that, and they're assuming that this rank 100 thing, that equates to the end of the expansion, that equates to, the final goal that we're shooting for. And I don't think enough context has been put into just what this 100 rank thing means. So this rank 100 artifact may very well mean this is the end of the expansion. And at least in my opinion, the way that the current artifact knowledge tomes are, or like the current artifact knowledge multiplier, it does create a situation where, oh, it's going to take like freaking forever in order to max out your weapon. But we're talking about maxing your weapon by the end of the expansion, and not so much maxing it out as soon as you can. The reason why the requirements are going up to like Disgaea kind of levels, if you ever heard of that game, is because, as they said, they want to give players the feeling that at the end of the day, even if they don't happen to get items or anything at the end of a raid or a dungeon binge, at least they came out with this artifact power that will progress them to the next level. Here's the flaw or the challenge with that. Blizzard's trying to make a projection as to when they think the end of the expansion might take place and create a system, in this case, artifact power, create a system that tries to relate to that. But at the same time, Blizzard probably doesn't have a timetable as to when the expansion is going to end. So it makes sense that Blizzard is going to push the goalpost, I guess, way out of the field of vision of any sort of prediction. Basically making it so that no matter how much artifact power that you can feasibly earn in a day, it's going to equate to, you know, less than 0.1% towards like the final trait or that next level. At least not until, like, let's say 7.3 comes out, and then we get new knowledge tomes that increase our multiplier by whatever ridiculous number. So my question now is whether or not that's worth it. 7.2 is going to take us to a point where at the end of the day, we're going to get such an insignificant amount of artifact power that it might as well be 0. So why not have a cap? And I haven't been wanting to make this certain kind of critique because it involves math, and I'm not good with math or numbers, or I guess I'm not good at expressing this very well, even though it's been on my mind for a while. But obviously, while artifact power is a very passive system, and for the most part, if you just kind of forget about it, you're in a good spot. When you look at it, you're going to see these absolutely ridiculous numbers. I mean, I think at the Q&A, Ian said something along the lines of,
it's a little bit, it's admittedly heavy-handed, it's not the most elegant design.
And that's about right. It wasn't in reference directly to what I'm talking about, but it pretty much is what we should all be talking about. Like, why does artifact power requirements have to be like this super exponential increase? Like, can't we have a system where, you know, okay, yeah, cool, we'll have all these rank requirements and things like that, and as well as the artifact knowledge that can stay too. But let's pretend, like, let's say you obtain a rank on your weapon that far exceeds the average person, and when your artifact rank exceeds whatever your knowledge is, you're going to find that the next time you pick up an artifact power token, it's going to have a much smaller multiplier next to it. So this is a loose example, but let's say you're at like artifact knowledge 25 and your weapon rank is at like 40 or something, but the average player, or I guess whatever Blizzard decided to be the average player, they only have, you know, average players only have a rank of like 20. The guy or girl who's really far ahead, they complete like an emissary chest, and so does the rank and so does the rank 20 player. The rank 20 player gets an artifact token, and you know that's multiplied by their artifact knowledge of 25. The rank 40 person, though, they're going to look at their token, and that token is only multiplied by an artifact knowledge level of 1. So I don't know if that made a lot of sense, but it's just a way to kind of change the perception of how artifact power diminishing returns work. Because in practice, you can call them diminishing returns, but I call them exponential requirements. All in all, though, I'm still quite happy with what they're doing with the final traits, in that they're making it not like a huge deal. It's decent enough to enjoy having, but putting it alongside a pretty ridiculous requirement to power up, it is shitty enough to not change my playstyle one bit. So that's the teeny bit of news this week, and thanks for watching. If you're enjoying the content, like. If you want to see more content tailored to helping you guys and girls succeed, hit a sub. Share your thoughts and opinions in a comment below because I do like participating in that. And I'm out. You guys have a good weekend and stay breezy.